Hello, Saints. This weekend we're looking at those two chapters after the seven last plagues, chapters 17 and 18. Last time we talked about the woman who rides the beast and asked the question, who is that woman? In chapter 18, we're looking at the city of Babylon in its economic sense. But it's interesting how it starts out. It starts out with a familiar picture, especially one seen back in chapter 14. Let's read it. Verse 1, chapter 18. And after these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illumined with his glory. And he cried out with a mighty voice, saying, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, and she has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison of every unclean spirit, and a prison of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the passion of her immorality, and the kings of the earth have committed acts of immorality with her. This is again denoting false worship. And the kings of the earth have committed acts of immorality with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich by the wealth of her sensuality. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you may not participate in her sins, and that you may not receive of her plagues. For his sins have piled up as high as heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. So we get this angel who lightens the earth with his glory and proclaims the second angel's message, just like we're supposed to in the three angels' messages. But this time is added a voice out of heaven, Come out of her, my people. That's the warning that comes from God. It's not for you and I to call people out. God calls people out. We're there to minister to them as they come out. That's what we're here for. But the voice that he heard wants to deliver them from the plagues because God has remembered her iniquities. You think it just dawned on God, oh, I remember now? I didn't remember before? This is a kind of literary device that just tells us that this is a point of action. When God is now taking action against a person who has brought these sins and plagues. And so now he's going to do something about it. He says, pay her back even as she has paid, in verse 6, and give back to her double according to her deeds. It's actually almost in the Greek, it's double. And in the cup in which she has mixed twice as much for her, to the degree that she glorified herself and lived sensuously, to the same degree give her torment and mourning. For she says in her heart, I sit as a queen, and I am not a widow, and I will never see mourning. And for this reason, in one day her plagues will come, pestilence and mourning and famine. And she will be burned up with fire, for the Lord who judges her is strong. And so the harlot now is judged and burned with fire. And this is the way some harlots were taken care of back in the ancients. Not only did they stone them, but they also burned them. And this is what's going to be her comeuppance on the false city, that false kingdom we call Babylon. God is now destroying not just the leadership of it and the controlling spiritual side of it, but also the economy of it. And we see that happening in the seven last plagues, especially regarding the sixth plague. And so as these things here show that God is wrapping up and taking care of business, sealing it, it's done. So I want you to think about that as we study into the book of Revelation. Again, I encourage you to join us in that class. The class is over, passed, the video's online. Feel free to get online and watch it. If you want the material, let me know and I'll send it to you. God bless.